Hello, it's Friday. Yes, welcome to the Friday Night Files. So pleased you could make it. I wanted to say something before the actual show starts and we have our guest on. Um, Now, being hosts, okay, to a space dedicated to paranormal and cryptid world, all right, is a constant exercise in balance. It really is. We often face a difficult reality. The physical evidence and photos, the recordings, the grainy footage frequently fails to capture the magnitude of the encounter. To an outside observer, a photo might look like shadows and leaves. To the person who stood there, it represents a moment where the world, as they knew it, shifted. We understand that dismissing the claim simply because it lacks laboratory grade proof is a disservice to the human experience. Much like a deeply held religious faith, these encounters are often intangible to the skeptic. If you weren't there, the data feels thin, irrefutable to the experiencer. The emotion, the fear, and the awe are as real as any physical object beyond current perspective. Just because our current objective, the tools we use, the equipment, can't measure the phenomenon doesn't mean the phenomena isn't happening. Perhaps we simply haven't raised our collective perspective high enough to see the full picture. Our commitment to you, we refuse to belittle or mock those who come forward to the show. While we must remain discerning as researchers, we will always remain compassionate as hosts. We view these stories not just as data points, but as testimonies of the unknown. We are here to listen, to validate the weight of the experience, and to explore the possibility that the subjective is simply a doorway to a reality we don't yet fully understand. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. We invite you to keep watching for the guest we're going to have on with an open mind and open heart. Thank you for listening.
This is not a dream.
Right then, let's turn this off. Okay, I'm going to bring on the hostess or the mostess, The gothic goddess of YouTube, Natalie.
I love that, the gothic goddess of YouTube. I'm going to change my handle to that.
Believe it or not, you've been on my mind for quite some time, and I was like trying to figure out what can I do that's a nice, good intro just to build you up. I was like,
Yes, I'm very impressed with that one. Thank you.
And you're more than welcome. How are you, mate?
You all right then, Phil?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Firing on all cylinders. You know, yeah, not too bad. Yeah, sort of like, yeah, it's just been sort of like busy, isn't it? Really.
There never seems to be enough time at the moment. You know how you see all those like little reels on Facebook and everyone's going, time's going faster and faster. And it's like this week I'll be like, how is it Friday again? It only seems like 2 minutes since it was Friday before.
Yeah.
We're back here again. It's like, whoa, maybe
It's
they're
crazy,
right.
isn't it?
Yeah, maybe they're right.
Just it just sort of kind of like, and I think the older we get, the quicker it goes. Sure of it, you know.
Yeah. I never believed Mum when she said that when I was little, but I'm starting to understand what she means.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure of it. And there was, I read somewhere there was a school of thought that said that the time actually does individually change for us as we get older. The progression of time does change, you know, on an individual basis. You know, I suppose really in a way it's kind of it's true, really. We do kind of, everybody jumps time when you think about it. I mean, I've often wondered, right? You know, when say you're driving along and you open up the window and a fly pops in, right? Just for instance, and you drive 100 miles, that fly must be so disorientated. When as soon as it flies out the window, it's like, what the hell was that? Where am I?
Do you know, I had this conversation with my friend not too long ago because she sent me a video. She was driving down the road and realised there was a slug stuck to a windscreen wiper. And she was like doing 30 miles an hour. You can see this little slug going like this. And I said, and I was like, I bet he's a bit confused as to where he's getting off your car because he started off in one place and he's like time and he's just like, I got abducted by this big metal thing and now I'm here and I don't know where I am. And he's telling all the other local slugs about his time.
Yeah, I bet he was. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, next time I bet he's looking about now, and I bet he's going. I tell you what, I was talking to his mates. He's going, if you go over to that car, right, and sliver onto the windscreen wiper, take some sunglasses, right, stick on some music like kind of Cool Rider or something, and you just don't know where you're going to end up. It's amazing.
Yeah. There's a story back home of great Uncle Bernie disappearing. It's like this metal object and he just disappeared. I never saw him again.
Yeah, we remember seeing him. Yeah, do you remember Uncle Bert? Yeah, we do. Yeah, he just disappeared. And never saw him again. It's them aliens. It's them aliens in those square box spaceships.
Yeah. Maybe we're just the alien slugs. we just end up on the UFOs by accident.
Yeah. God. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I wonder what they do make of it. It's like kind of, you know, the smallest, tiniest of it. It gives some in a way. Do you know what? It gives some perspective to what we're dealing with. Because how does a slug comprehend a car driving past? Does it notice it? Would it even comprehend it to be a car? What would it think it was? You know, as the same difference goes for us. Maybe some of the stuff that we're experiencing is just so literally, pardon the pun, alien, so huge that we just aren't capable. We're mentally not capable to comprehend it. Maybe some of the pictures that maybe the cameras are getting those pictures of cryptids and other bits and bobs absolutely pin sharp, but it's us that are unable to comprehend the picture, and it looks blurred and muddled.
Yeah, it could be actually, yeah, in a weird kind of way. You know, if you
Yeah.
imagine it, like, you know, like say of the insects, I mean, if you put your hand down, pick up a snail, say, and move it, it's like going, what the hell's, you know, and it's like, all it does is see these things in the background, and then all of a sudden it's transported. So, I mean, I suppose in a weird kind of way, it is quite a good analogy, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a funky one, but right. So, should we bring on our guest, Nat?
I think we definitely should. He's
I think we should as well.
say, I think.
This guest is a very special chap, and I want people, as I said on before the intro started, you know, I want open hearts, open minds to this, because this guy is using a pseudonym of Henry. He will explain why he's doing this. But in the chats and stuff, with the moderators, you know, keep an eye out, just like make sure everything goes kosher. I would appreciate that. But yeah, this is a very interesting chap. His name is Henry. I'll bring him up now. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, very good. Thank you very much for coming on.
My pleasure.
Yeah, do appreciate it. Henry, we spoke a little while back about having you on. And luckily, you know, you agreed, which is great. First of all, just to get something out of the way, am I promoting anything of yours? Have you given me anything to promote?
No.
Am I paying you for this?
No.
Am I paying you for this? No?
No.
Okay. Can I ask then, Henry, why are you coming forward with this information?
I'm coming forward because I've been threatened. I've been shot at. I've had friends go deceased. And before it happens to me, I want the truth out there.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's good. I can fully understand where you're coming from with that one. Well, look, I'm gonna let you take the lead a little bit from the point of view, because I know you've got a bit of a long. This is going to be one, I think, of a few episodes for people at home. We're not going to be able to cram everything in, all the information that Henry's got in one sitting. There's just no way. Otherwise, we'll be here all night. And with my battery lighting, a lot of my battery is just going to fail, and I'll be sitting in the dark, you know. So I'm going to ask Henry just to briefly cover some of his past pertaining to how he came to this stage. What was the catalyst that brought you to this stage? What was the start of the strange experiences? Were you in the armed forces?
Yeah, in later years, yeah.
Okay. In the early years, were you as a child? Can you let us know what year you were born in?
They tell me 1967, but the evidence that I've come across, 1950.
Okay. Right. That's a good starting point. Your parents then, were they your real parents in 1967?
Well, supposedly, from what I gather, they wanted a son. They made a deal with somebody or something, and pretty much, I don't know what all they put in that tube, but I was basically hatched in a kind of like an incubator. I was not like the rest of everybody else. Then I was passed to my parents with the promise that if things started showing up, signs started appearing, they was to be compensated, but passed me back off to them to let them do what they needed to do.
Okay. Um, when you were growing up, you were born 1950. Do you remember anything of your younger past prior to 1967, between 1950 and 1967? Do you remember anything?
Some of the people that were known by my family, I knew a lot of them, and I could never make the difference between then and now because to me, they were people that I already knew, but I was never allowed to say nothing. I was never allowed to talk about it. That was supposed to be kept to myself. Now, me and my parents talked about it behind closed doors, but it was mainly they listened and I talked. But I was never allowed to talk outside of the house about knowing these people previously.
Okay. Growing up, did you feel were you tutored at home or were you tutored in a school?
I went to a public school. My school was a lot different than, I should say, the schooling was a lot different. I went to kindergarten just like everybody else did. I went to first grade. I was in there probably about 2 weeks, and I was really tiny. So one night I come home after like, it was probably a week and a half. I went home. My parents told me, said, we're going to be having a meeting with the principal at home at between 9 and 9:30. I just agreed with it, went. They talked amongst themselves. Then the principal put me up. She was a woman, picked me up, set her on her lap, and she goes, "You're too small to start school." Okay. So then that night I got sleepy. We went home. Now I went to bed knowing that I did not have school. The next morning I was abruptly woke up and told to get up, dress, get something to eat. I was going to school. I was like, wait a minute. We talked about this last night. I don't have to go to school, remember? They was like, get dressed. I got up and went to school. Now I remembered those kids in first grade, the classmates, I guess you'd call them. I got dressed, got taken to school, got out, and was playing with the other kids. I thought it was kind of weird because these kids were a lot bigger than me.
Mm.
So I just kind of shrugged it off. The 8:30 bell rang. I went to class. I followed my students that I was in first grade with. I thought that's where we was going. They went into the sixth grade classroom, so I followed. And they was all whispering, and I didn't know what they wouldn't. It was kind of like I was the mouse in the corner. They wasn't really speaking to me. They was talking amongst themselves, and then the teacher come in. He walked past, looked at me, come back, and he goes, "You, I'm going to come up to the desk. I'm going to write you a pass. Return to the first grade room." I said, "These are my classmates. I don't understand why we come in here, but I just followed everybody else."
Mm.
"No, you belong in the first grade classroom." So I go back, and I cried the whole way because I didn't understand.
Okay.
When I got to the class, that class was full of different students that I didn't even know. So I give them my pass. They told me to take a seat. somehow over what I would call overnight, I lost 5 years, which did not make no sense to me because all the kids that I started in first grade with had moved on to sixth grade through the classes. They moved through second, third, fourth, up.
Okay.
I didn't. This just happened overnight.
Right, just Henry, if you don't mind, you know your camera, if you could just turn your camera a little bit to your right hand side, just a little bit.
Okay,
Turn
to
it
the
to
right.
your right. Yeah, turn it to your right. Your right. Yeah, your right hand. My left. That's it. A bit more. A little bit more. That's it. It's just so the people watching on mobile can see you a little bit clear, a bit clearly. That's all. You see you in more of the center of the picture. It does help. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that, Henry. Right. So you claim as a child you were basically were you snatched up? Could you remember being snatched up by government, or was it
I
government
don't
body?
remember much about being snatched up. I just went to sleep, and I didn't understand because I went to sleep. Next morning, I was told to get up and go to school. What I thought was the next morning was told to get up and get ready for school, and I argued.
Yeah.
But when I went to school, the classmates that I went through kindergarten to the first 2 weeks of first grade, they moved up. I didn't.
Okay.
And it really messed me up.
The missing years that you had, do you remember anything at all about the missing years you had?
Just mainly seeing kind of like images, flashes, just quick flashes, and it's things that I found out later that what I was seeing was the people later that I would be associated with, basically held with. So I'm not sure what they give to me that caused me to go into a deep sleep like that. And like I said, there was just quick flashes of imagery, of people standing around, people with long lab looking coats. I never was told anything about it. I didn't understand. I didn't really totally understand until years, following what was really going on.
Have you had any flashbacks? Do you get any flashbacks? Do you have any emotional trauma that you can put down to that period of time?
Not really, but see, right at that time, the second time I was in first grade, that's when the finger poke started. And I can't remember the name of the tool they used, but they would poke all my fingers, all my toes. Each finger or each digit got a separate vial. And I'm not sure what that was used for. But this went on 5
Are you talking that you had blood extracted? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 5 days a week, all the way up until I was in sixth grade.
And this was at school. Sorry, go on.
It's all right. I was just thinking if you lost 5 years, but you didn't grow in those 5 years because they wanted you back in the first year. So somehow you've stayed in stasis or jumped time from 5 years on without being aware of it, and then they're taking blood samples from you just so that I understand what's going on.
Yeah,
I don't know how you manage to process this time. It's hard enough going linearly through time, but to have that happen, especially when you're little as well. So they were also taking blood samples and sort of checking up on it, possibly to see whether you're going through time, I'm assuming, or jump time that you have changed any, or like monitoring to see what happened. No,
they must have been, because I didn't understand they filled up these vials, and each one of them was labeled.
Okay.
And I seriously, if I was to show you or tell people to talk to you that knows me, they would tell you the same thing. Up until high school, I didn't age.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
So you lost 5, well, you jumped 5 years but stayed the same age, and then throughout the next few years you basically stayed the same as
Yeah.
you. Wow,
Yeah.
that must have been difficult as well, to go through school seeing everybody changing and you're not really changing at the same time. That's
Well, I'll say this. In certain circumstances it was fun, but in others it wasn't, because like at PE, physical education, you was always the last one to get picked because you was small, you hadn't been growing. But at recess, the girls carried me around like a living sized doll.
right.
Oh, that was the fun part.
There's some advantages there then.
Yeah.
Oh, bless you. Okay. I think I'm getting an idea of what you're saying now. Yeah. Wow. That's so did you just sort of move forward through school then without really questioning it too much? You know, because obviously you were quite young at the time anyway. You know, aside from that first incident where you questioned what was going on, did you just go, you know, I'll just roll with it? Or
I kind of questioned my parents about it.
yeah.
It was a different time than we are now. They was more, I wouldn't say strict, but you didn't mouth.
Yeah.
So if they said drop it, you dropped it, or you got the belt.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Henry, what was your relationship with your parents? From the parents you fought with your parents in 1967. What was your relationship with them? Was it were they? Did you have the feeling that they knew that you had gone through this?
I had a feeling they knew something, but this is going to sound kind of freakish, but I'm just telling you the way it is. My family treated me like I was a god, like I was baby Jesus. You know, I was their one and only, and me and my dad, we were like Siamese twins. We was never apart. I was constantly with him, no matter where he went. And my mom would actually have to make me stay home because I wanted to be with my dad. We were like two peas in a pod. But then there was a certain point, which you'll find out about, where just overnight I got up to go with my dad. And he was like, no, you stay here. You don't go with me no more. And when my mom, and it was a total different life. I mean, I switched back and forth through the transition. Well, after a while, you just get used to, well, it's just another transition.
Okay. To move things on a little bit, when your schooling ended and you were able to work, because I take it you carried on in college at school, yeah?
No, I went to a vocational school for just a short time, and then it wasn't long after I went straight to the military. But you got to
Okay.
understand, these projects that I was involved in, that started in the first grade.
Okay. Right. In the first grade, how can you elaborate a bit on how you recognized it as being a project in the first grade?
Okay, there was two kids I kind of buddied up with, and they was real good with like math, science. So I buddied up with them, and they were really intelligent. They shouldn't even have been in first grade. They should have been in fourth or fifth grade. But we was talking one day, And I didn't want to say nothing because I thought they knew. But I was trying to ease into the conversation as not to scare them. And I said, hey, I said, when we took that one test, did you guys get called into a room upstairs? And they was like, yeah. I said, so do you know who the teacher was? So they told me. I said, yeah, it's the same one I had. I said, I was told that we was wanted for bigger and better things. I said, does that mean we're going to move up some grades or what that mean? They didn't know. Well, then we ended up at the project. And how that started was my parents told me, said, you don't go to school tomorrow. We're going to take you on a trip. Now you got to understand, we were poor people. We didn't have that kind of money to spare. Two guys showed up at the house. Me and my parents had bags packed. We got in the vehicle. They put our bags in the trunk, and we drove cross country to New York. I still thought it was a field trip. I seen the Empire State Building and all these different things, and then the next thing you know, they take me to this place that's a great big base, and they passed me over my dad and set me out. And they said, "You stay, we're leaving, and be good. You do what these people tell you." That's how it started with me. And then those two kids later on, they would set you in a chair and put a band on your head like a helmet. And the two kids were supposed to be like they was going to join the brain activity. They was using electric, and these two kids that were really smart one afternoon, when they come back, they were totally brain dead. They couldn't talk, they couldn't do nothing.
This you're talking when you went to New York. You were dropped off by your parents, and this was a camp, a military camp.
Yeah, it was a military base that had been shut down.
Okay, are we talking Camp Hero
Yes, sir.
in Montauk?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Right. Okay. Right. Is it possible you could just walk us through the early days of the with Montauk? It's hearsay, it's myth, but there is people like yourself that have said that they run programs for children there. They did run programs for children. Could you walk us through typically what was one of the programs, one that you're able to share with us?
Yeah, I was in the Phoenix Project 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then it switched over to Rainbow, and then there was a couple other projects that they involved me with because, unlike most of the children, I was tested at an early age, and they found out that there were certain things that I could do that just come natural to me. So they wanted to enhance that. And we did a lot of time travel, which I was always sent back in time, never forward. It was a lot of times to gather information or retrieve something that they had heard about that they wanted to know if it really existed, and if it did, they wanted it. So there was a lot of things involved with that, Phil. There was also reanimation, where you would take a
Okay,
dead body and bring it back.
right. Okay. First off, let's just have a brief look at now when they sent you back in time. Uh, were they using chemicals on the children, or were they using an apparatus?
They was using an apparatus. It was a
Okay,
chair with a helmet, and then in front of that was a Jacob's ladder.
okay,
Then
right.
later on, it went to opening portholes, natural ones.
Okay. So there was not there was all they didn't create the portals. The portals were already there. They just opened them up.
Yeah, and they also created some.
Oh, did they?
Yes, they did, and I also have photos of those.
Okay. Do do you happen to know what because to open up a portal as they did would have taken a ton of energy. What energy were they
Yeah,
using? Was it electricity? I mean, where was the electricity coming from?
it was coming from that base.
Okay.
They had generators. They also had a thing that nobody ever talks about, and I'll go ahead and tell you. It's the
Mm,
same. It was basically like a Tesla pole. You put it in the ground, and you drive it way down the ground, and it will pull the electricity from the ground along with their generators, which gives them a lot more power.
okay. Wow. Okay. All right. When you went back in time, what did they give you specific? How did they program a time and date in to you or into the apparatus? Did you ever see how that happens?
I was mainly just the guinea pig. They would set it up, and it was up to me to go. There was lots of mishaps, but they would send you in, and then they would tell you when you get in there and you get to where you're going, remember where you're at because you have to come back to that spot so we can pull you back. It was a push and pull, is what I'd like to call it.
Okay. And you went physically, just to be clear, you
Physically.
went physically. So 1 minute you were there in the chair, next minute you had gone from the chair.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. Thank you. All right then. Um, Natalie, what do you think? I mean, have you any questions? I mean, I'm just blown away.
I mean, I don't know how you've lived your life like this without sort of going nuts, because I'm trying to wrap my head around just the little bits you've said to me. And like you say, like, sort of like having that time jump when you were little and then having a loving family, what appears to be a loving family, and then suddenly they just dump you somewhere, and then like
Yeah.
then sending you through time and telling you. I mean, I can't even imagine. I literally can't imagine it. I'm sort of like at this
Nat-
moment in time, it's like, and
Natalie, try to imagine this, that me and you and Phil sitting here talking,
mhm,
and we're back in that day when a lot of this was going on, and we was all three having a conversation, and me and Phil sat back and let you talk, and while you're talking, you have no clue. I have been sent off and been gone for 5 years, but then I come right back and listen to the rest of your conversation just like I was here the whole time.
wow,
That is a flipping, it messes with you.
I can believe that. I can
And
well
you can't
believe that.
tell nobody. You have to act normal.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's bad on you. You get it from your parents, and then you get it when you go back to the project.
yeah.
They was yanking me out of stores, out of cars, and when I would leave, it'd be just like we're sitting here talking, and all of a sudden, boom, I'm gone. But nobody realizes it, and they're
Mm.
still talking. But when I come back, I'm right where I left off in your conversation.
Wow. So
And yeah,
basically, sorry, so they could get you to time travel from wherever you were, or once they perfected the technology. I presume that that was what all the experiments were about. So once they did figure it out, they could just pluck you out of somewhere, send you off somewhere, and then just plunk you right back where you started, basically.
yeah, in the same conversation.
Wow. And you had no idea they were going to do that? You had no sort of heads up, we're going to send you off at some point in the next.
No
You'd
heads up.
literally just be
It would just show up.
Wow.
And
Goodness.
it's hard, when you're going, just say that, like I said, if I bounced you back there, then I bounce you back and you're right there in the same conversation that you left off in. Now you got to get up and go to school.
Mm, yeah.
And I bounce back and forth between our present time and the future. Then I back down into their time. Here's the scary part. The things they was doing with me, they're trying to bring all these realms, they're staggered, and they're trying to bring them down. When they do, you're going to see a lot of that going on with just anybody and everybody.
Yeah. What they're trying to sort of bring them closer together so it's easier to jump. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
you won't even know you're jumping.
Wow. Is
I
that a
think
little?
it's huh?
I was just going to say, is that like? So you're jumping through time. You know how they've got the theory at the moment that we've got timelines and we keep swapping timelines. Do you think that's like almost like a result of it? Because if you're going through time, altering something slightly and then coming back, then everything's very slightly different as well.
Yeah.
And you've got them trying to get everything close together so it's easier to flip backwards and forth. The sheer amount of things that must be changing, while that's happening, especially, if it's happening multiple times and then it starts happening to lots of different people, how that would affect time, even, like you say, it's sort of like, because is it true? Do you think it's true that, when they say that about going back in time that you can alter the future, is that, I presume that's why they're doing it, is to try and alter the future or to keep it constant of, one or the other? But
now a lot of the other thing is to deal with that, how they do that. Basically, it's like a Mandela effect on people like you guys because you remember something from your childhood. Then all of a sudden you start hearing, no, that, okay, just like a dog. No, that dog didn't have a tail. Yes, it did. No, it didn't. And you look and look and look, and you never see the dog with the tail. And then all of a sudden, one day, you open up a real old book, and there's that dog with that tail. They've been doing this for years, and they're hoodwinking everybody else. They're trying to tell you don't remember right. You don't remember correctly.
Yeah. That's the thing that's getting me, because me and Phil have had this conversation a few times just recently, that it feels, I'll say something and my mum will go, no, it wasn't, and I'll be like, what? Because it's literally, you've just said the opposite to my entire memory of my childhood. And I know we all have different perspectives, but I'm like, that's not right. It's like, no, and it's happened a few times now where I've started to think, is my brain going, like you say, the back and forth, is my brain going, am I remembering correctly? But this has been a given in my entire life up until recently, and then all of a sudden it's being said, no, it isn't, or no, it wasn't, or that isn't what happened. And you just sort of like you say, questioning it. And that's why it blew my brain already, because it's sort of like confirming in a weird kind of way, sort of like a little bit of the experiences we've been having over the last few years, because if this is accelerating slightly as well, and everything's jumping around, it would explain why everything's so disorientating at the moment, because you everything keeps changing, but it's so subtle that you can't track it. And wow, and you've been doing this a lot longer than us as well.
And like I said, it's really weird because up until recent, I didn't have any ties or close friends or anything. And that's why, because it got so difficult that they would be talking about what we'd done 20 minutes ago. I might have already been gone for 5 years. And then try to come back and it's like, what are they talking about?
Henry, can I ask, did you have any inclination, or did you talk to any of the other children in that project? Did any of you have any idea of their motives? What was the motive behind sending you back into time?
They would send me back a lot of times to go retrieve stuff, go back and watch things to figure out how it worked, because there's a certain time and period that there was technology that was lost. Don't ask me why or how it was lost or who caused it to be lost. It was just lost. I didn't quite understand it, so they would send me back to get knowledge and bring it back to them, and objects, objects of power that you only hear about like in the fairy tales, like King Arthur's sword. It was also known as King David's sword, Excalibur, whatever you want to call it, because those things were made by the aliens, given to man. They wanted these objects,
Okay.
and there was a
We
purpose for wanting those.
just out of interest, were you ever asked, or did you ever come across any other kid that was sent back to apprehend the spear of destiny?
I've heard of different kids, and maybe like in passing, you didn't get much of a chance to talk. They tried to keep us separated, and I won't discuss that part of it because it sometime when you're not on here, I'll tell you it's pretty
Okay.
bad. But yeah, I brought things back like that
Okay.
for our own dark side government.
Yeah. Um. My next thing is with that instantaneous time dilation that goes boom and you're gone and you're
Yeah,
back in time. How what physical effect did it have on you, and how did you bring a object back? I mean, I guess you travel time fully clothed in the clothing you were in the chair, and you went back in time. Did you ever have any occasions where you jumped back in time and you ended up in an area where they looked at you, they started scratching their head and thinking, "This guy, it looks totally weird."
no, we was always dressed in period clothes.
Okay. For that period you were going back in time to.
Yeah,
So they
they was
had an
doing,
idea, they had a motive. We don't quite know. The motive was to bring and to observe technology that is lost. But they were quite specific then. They were quite specific on the time, the date, and accurate how to send you back.
yeah,
Um, right. And it was just a chair you sat in with a cap on, with sensors on the cap.
yeah, and there was box underneath, and it had these great big giant wires that run to it. They come from the computer through the generator to the chair up to the outside of the building, and it would go up to a tower.
Mm. What was the what? It's okay. You can spill your guts with me. What was the one occasion that you went back in time and it just flipped your head out? The one thing that you saw when you went back in time, you thought, "What? I never realized." You know, even if you look back in retrospect now, you think, "What? Honestly?"
Well, there was different objects. I guess you would call them magical objects, and you read about them in grade school, and there was cartoon books about it. And one of the first times I ever come across one of them things that I did not believe that it was real. And when I felt the power from it, I knew then that really shook me up because it was real. These objects held power.
Right. Let's go back. I never saw the comic book. I have no idea what you're talking. What object are we talking about? What did you see in the comic book and you thought, "Wow, I had no idea that they're so powerful." What
Well,
was
like
it?
like you read in the books, about Excalibur.
Yeah.
It was stuck in a stone. Only the certain man could pull that, and come to find out it was supposedly King Arthur.
Yeah.
I did not realize that sword, you could actually hold it and it would do battle for you. You would never lose as long as you had that sword. It
Mm.
was a real thing. It had real magical powers. It could not be broke. You couldn't bend it. It had magical powers, and they wanted
Okay.
it. So I lifted it, stole it
o-
basically.
Okay. When you bought these, we'll move on in a bit, but just one last thing I've got is when you bought these items back, did you ever see what happened to them, or did you ever see anyone that was organizing this that you later on in life look back on and recognize and think, my word, I know who that was in that room. I know who that general was. I know who that commander was. And did you ever know where these items, what they were going to be used for, where they went?
Now, I never was told what they was used for. They just, as soon as I come back with them, they would take the object and usher them off. But let me kind of back up for a second, because what you just said, I have to explain it.
Mm.
The doctors, scientists, whatever you want to call them, that passed me off to my parents, those are the people that ended up being at the project working. So yes, I knew them, and later in years, I went after them because of what they'd done to me.
Okay. Right. Are you still in contact with some of the other children that were at Montauk on that project? Are you still in contact with them?
No, no, a lot of them either passed away in the project, they was sent away to be destroyed. Basically, it's like a straw. If I put you in the straw, in between the one point to the next, if I shut the generator off, you don't come out the other end, and you don't come back. You just cease to exist.
Mm.
So if you was a person they wanted to get rid of that was in the project, doing the project, they wanted to get rid of you, they would just keep it like they was doing a project. You would sit in a chair, they'd send you out, wait for just a few seconds, and flip the switch.
Yeah.
Now you're stuck out there in limbo, and you ain't coming back.
Do you think they use that same technology in the Philadelphia, the boat, the Philadelphia experiment? Do you think they use that same technology there?
Yeah, it's the same technology. They just moved it. What it was, there was mistakes made in the Philadelphia experiment. So what they done is they call a splinter. You take the project, you splinter it. Here's you a piece, Phil. Here's you a piece, Natalie. Here's you a piece. See what you can do with it. So how they splinter it, and they give it to each one of the military forces, Army, Navy, Marines, all that. They just separate it. It's all the same guys working on these projects, but they say, here, if you find out something, we'll give you credit for it. But it always comes back to the same persons. A lot of the stuff that you see going on today, even though you do not have no inkling that it goes back to these projects I was involved with, it does. I'm telling you, what you're seeing today on the news is a splinter.
Okay. Were you told if you were sent back in time, were you told any rules or conditions, not to interact with people, or not to be not to move items, not to disturb any timelines? Were you ever told before you went?
I was never allowed to, when you go on a mission like that, never allowed to speak, because we use a different lingo, slightly different than what they would have used then. And I never was told like I'm talking to you. I would go in, they'd put me in bed, they'd program me. They would do it by these sound waves, frequencies. They never really talked much to me other than to, tell me to get in the chair. But as far as like give me my orders, that was all done with frequencies. Just like today, it's still going on. That's the reason I don't go into deep sleep. If I go into a deep sleep, they got a hold of me again. So it's like I don't go into a deep sleep. I don't sleep like you guys do.
What was it that made you special, Henry? Why were you chosen? Why do you think you say that the other kids, I mean, to in retrospect, you said that the other children had almost savant qualities when it came to mathematics. Did you have qualities with yourself? I mean, were
My
you
qualities are a lot different than anybody else's
mm,
in the fact that I can actually lay down and go to sleep. I was born, if you want to call it that, a night walker, not a sleepwalker. There is a difference. I could lay down, just say right there on your office. I could lay down there and go to sleep into just a light sleep. I could show up at Natalie's house doing chores around the house, and you wake up and she calls you and says, "Hey, he's here at my house." No, he ain't. He's laying right here. There's a lot of
okay?
things is a reason why they chose me. That's what they was waiting for when they passed me off. They said that if anything come up, he starts showing signs, we want him back.
Mm,
So I was on loan, and my mom and dad and everybody got paid. I never got paid. I never got nothing for this.
okay. I'll tell you what, if you do built it round there, you'd love it. It's actually not a studio, it's a bedroom. And it's got quite a comfy bed. It's a memory foam. So, you know, when you are around, help yourself, dude. Seriously, it's quite comfy, you know. You'll be
But yeah,
sharing it with the
yeah.
dogs, I'm afraid. Yeah. Only little dogs, but they take up a lot of space. They stretch out. You'll find this out. You'll find it out. But yeah, you do.
They wanted
Okay,
all
right.
these
So
things.
you
They
can
wanted all
you can project. You can project your. Is it like astral planing? Is that what you're saying?
sort of. I can be physical in front of whoever it is, or I can be not seen. Okay, like he give you a for instance. I have cameras and I had to put them up because they tried to take me out. They tried to burn my house down. So we put cameras up all the way around the house. There ain't a place in my yard I can't step that I can't be seen.
Mm,
But at the same time, sometimes I'll lay down in bed at nighttime, go to sleep, get up the next morning, and my chicken coops are unlocked. The doors are open and the chickens are on the outside. We go back and watch the video. Nobody went and unlocked those doors. Nobody opened them. You see them open, but you don't see nobody doing it.
okay, so they've got
And
people capable of doing the same thing as you can do.
yes, sir.
How do you guard against that?
How do I what?
How do you guard against that? How do you guard against it? How do you take precautions against something that can't be seen and yet has movement and can interact with objects?
Yeah, you can't. There's nothing you can do about it. It just one of those things that it happens around a lot of people and they don't have no clue. Um, things get moved around, things get fixed here, and you look on camera and there's nobody doing it. It's me doing it. If I get frustrated really bad, like working on a riding mower, and just say I can't get the coil off of it, and I get really angry, and I can't figure out how you get that off of there, I would lay down and go to sleep. The next morning when I get up, I'll find tools out there around the mower, and it's off laying on the ground.
Okay. Do you remember the time? Do you remember when you go to sleep? Do you remember what happens when you're working on that mower? Do you
Yeah,
remember what you do?
yeah, I remember doing it.
So you're conscious, you're sentient, even though you're uh, for want of a better expression, you're a ghost.
Pretty much ghost.
Natalie, what do you think? That could be no. I mean, we're talking ghost here, aren't we?
I was just thinking that could explain an awful lot of random phenomena, isn't it? Or,
Yeah.
like you say, the things moving around thing. And I mean, that is basically you're explaining paranormal phenomena in a roundabout kind of way. You know, even appearing back in different timelines and then disappearing again. I mean, what if you time travel back and the camera's picking you up as a grainy image rather than a 3D solid person? And it's like, and that's being classed as a ghost, but it's not. It's somebody sort of flipping backwards and forwards through time. And
The same way with your shadow people.
wow.
Henry, do you believe in ghosts?
Okay, I'll tell you what I was showing in the projects. There is spirits. They're the ones that does not go to the light. You go to the light and you're going to be basically like an aluminum can. You're going to go there as a beer can, but when you come back, you might be the top to a baby bottle. You get reused, recycled. There's a reason for that. The reason for that is, look at your aliens. They don't eat. They thrive on your fears, your joys. So why wouldn't they recycle you? You're a never-ending source of food.
Yeah. I think Natalie had a point. You know, I just want to put it past you. Natalie was saying that it is very, like paranormal. Having things move and nobody there, but it struck a question with me. Henry, do you think that a lot people who don't realize that they have this capability could possibly have this capability where they're able to move around as a ghost and kind of move objects? Do you think it's possible for normal people to? And I'm not saying you're abnormal. I'm just saying, no, everyday people. Do you think they have to?
Well, both of you, ask yourself this question. Have you ever laid your car keys down and knowed you laid them down on the table? You stop and go to the bathroom, come back, and your car keys are on top of the microwave? You've done it just unconsciously.
Yeah.
So everybody is capable of doing what I do. You just don't realize it, that you're doing it. You have no clue you're doing it. You just think, oh my God, I just forgot where I put my keys. No, you're doing the same thing I'm doing. The only thing is, I'm a little more controlled about it, where you guys are doing it and you don't realize you're doing it.
Mm.
And there's one factor in that I will reveal later to prove my point.
Okay. Wow. All right. Yeah, makes perfect sense. Honestly, you have that effect. Usually, I'm not stuck for words, am I, Natalie?
Lots to think about there, like you say, because even just spinning around the idea of paranormal phenomenon, and the fact as well that you could be moving your own keys and not know. I mean, yeah. I do kind of understand that, because you get phases where you lose time and everyone's just saying you zone out. But I suppose on a lower level, that is sort of very similar, isn't it? Because you're doing things you're not aware of. Whereas, if you think about it, if you could sort of do it deliberately and travel back to where you zoned out, rather than just, because what happens is we zone out and then we kind of wake up again, don't we? Further down the line, whereas you're zoning out, doing stuff, and then going back and then carrying on, if that makes sense. So it's sort of actually, like you say, it's levels of ability. But,
I got an example. I've got an example, and for me, this is what it would be. I take the same journey to work every day, the same journey, and I can alter it by slightly if I want to, and the amount of times where I get to work and I can't remember if I went round that roundabout. Sometimes I can't remember if I went the long way to work or the short way. The the parts of the journey, the individual parts of the journey, the roundabout, the traffic lights, stopping to let someone pass, or I get to work and I think, hang on, sometimes it's scary because we got like lots of speed cameras over here, and there's a speed camera, all right, on the way to work, and quite often this happens to be where I go through, I pass it, I get to work, and I think, and I scare myself. I think, oh my god, did I go through that speed? Did I set it off? What was I doing? Was I doing 30 or 40? I forget now. So I guess it's the same way, and I think a lot of people have that. It's almost like kind of that span of time in between on the journey, the drive, that journey. You kind of like, you can't piece it together. You can't remember individual sections of it.
Because you're jumping time.
Do you know, it's funny because I've had that with the healing stuff. I'll be at work where I used to work in a pub, and I'll be at work pouring beers and serving food and that, but I know half of me is not there and it's doing something else, but I don't know what it's doing. But I am aware that half of my attention is elsewhere, and it's so, you know, it's not an unusual concept really when you think about it, because I've always believed that parts of our brain sometimes are doing things that we're not aware of, but that part of the brain is conscious and doing something somewhere else. And you know, because I sometimes think, like, when we sleep, part of us goes somewhere else, and you know, sometimes when you wake up exhausted, it's because you've been doing a lot of stuff in your dream somewhere else, and then you come back and you're knackered. So you haven't actually slept because half of you's been busy. And it's like, it was just a sort of theory that I had, but it's sort of like, I have had that, but it's been more of a split rather than a literal all of me disappearing. But I have been aware that part of me has been elsewhere doing something else. So no, that's quite an interesting thought. That's quite frighteningly possible, based on even just my mundane experiences. But
no, if you think about all the things that's happened around you and in your vicinity, everything I'm telling you, you all have already experienced it. You just ain't put the nail in the coffin and nailed it down. You just chuck it up as, I'm just extra tired, I didn't get enough sleep. If people would just be with an open mind and go back and try to remember, they would see that the same thing that I'm doing is the same thing that any of you can do. Now, there's a reason for this. Just say that a male and a female is both redheads. They have a child. That child is going to have red in his hair somewhere. So these things that we call gifts, that's just natural traits. Because we all come from one thing. And a lot of people are going to be mad about that.
Like a banana. Isn't it? No, that's right. I'm not kidding around. That's what it is, isn't it? Every banana. I was stunned when I was told this. I was absolutely stunned. Every single banana originates from one single banana tree.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But the thing is, people can't accept what they're going to hear, and what's going to come out in this is the truth. And you'll figure it out when I tell you.
Okay. All right. I want to, if we can, I want to cover, because essentially this is a cryptid channel. We did speak previously, and I understand that you also were in what people call a DUMS, a deep underground military base. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please, Henry?
Okay, in the project, we work with aliens too. In these deep underground bunkers, we also work with aliens. We also work with cryptids. And this thing that everybody is calling a crawler, it's an alien. and they'll eat anything they come to, just like Dogman. Dogman was kind of natural, but it's been tampered with. Kind of like if you take a docile person, you can do things to them to make them killers. And worked with these cryptids. I've seen what they do with them. It's it's amazing. And I always tell people, they say, well, how do you know which one's good, which one's bad? Real easy. If you hear a clank clank, you might as well go ahead and say your prayers because you're gone. If you hear the clink clank, that's the ones you do not want to be around. Those will kill you on the spot. Those are the bad cryptids, the bad dogmen, so to speak. But there is some out there that's not been messed with, and they're just a race of dogmen. They're not good or bad. Oh yeah, they'll growl and snarl, show their teeth, chase you, basically to get you out of their area. It's the ones that the government tampered with is the one that will kill you on sight.
Yeah. I've heard that metallic sound many times. It sounds very, very much like a. I actually recorded it quite a few occasions, and the last recording I did was because what I do is I get an MP3 recorder, a little
Yeah,
MP3 voice dictaphone. I stick it in
yeah,
a poo bag, a dog poo bag. Yeah, because they're very thin. Stick it in that, and it's black, so it's great. Just tie it loosely at the top, and then hang it. Don't put it on the ground. You put it on the ground, you get lots of creeping crawlies go over the bag, and it disrupts the sound. It doesn't sound right. Put it on the tree and leave it overnight. I can guarantee at some point, it might take 2, 3, 4 days. I can guarantee you will hear that metallic sound in the middle of a woods, middle of a forest, miles from anywhere. I've captured it, and there's no accounting for it. There's just no. It's like a scraping clang, like a gate closing. Am
yeah.
I right,
It's a
Henry?
clang clang.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I'll tell you what that clang clang is. You won't want to believe it, but the truth is, the clang clang. Those creatures ain't just walking through that portal. They're in a cage. That clang clang you're hearing is the cage.
Okay. Their cage is it? Uh, uh, uh so they're in the realm of the aliens in the cage.
They're in a portal.
Yeah, but
They're coming through a portal, and if you're in there with them, they have them in a cage.
okay. But it's the aliens that are making these dogmen.
Okay, now I'll explain that whole thing I was telling you about a while ago that I would explain to you.
Uh-huh.
Long ago, the aliens created Bigfoot. There was a reason for it. He was the miner. He would go in and carry, dig the minerals out of the ground. He would bring them back. Well, after a while, some of those decided that they was going to revolt. They didn't want to work all the time. Aliens aren't very big. They're not strong. They just got a big brain. So they created a dogman. They laid the Bigfoot down, took DNA from an alien to a Bigfoot to create dogmen. They was the watchdog. If you don't work, I'll sick the dog on you. When those two got to fighting so much and things were getting hurt, then they laid aliens down, took DNA from them. They took DNA from Bigfoot, DNA from Dogman. They created man. That's why we're all related. That's why it goes back to answering you guys' question a while ago. We all have the same gifts, so to speak, of being a night walker, moving things with our minds. Aliens do it. There you go.
Right.
There's your answer.
Okay. Right, dude. Um. Uh. first question. What what species were these aliens? Were they the Greys or were they the
These are the ones we always work with are the Greys. They're more docile. They're the ones
what
that like
and they're
type
the
of,
ones that they're the ones that were creating the hybrids, if you like. They were the ones that
yeah,
set the Bigfoot to work as mining.
yeah. Now keep this in mind. Aliens of any kind are only the front man. They're kind of like you have like okay, you guys have a King Charles. Then you have like his son that is like the prince. Well, you're only going to get to deal with the prince until they decide to reveal the hierarchy. They don't look nothing like those aliens. Basically, the aliens are kind of like they go retrieval, keep in contact with man, so you do not see these other beings that's over them.
Okay. Um. Natalie, what do you right?
The Greys are
So
intermediaries then between other beings and this sort of like existence. Do you I don't know whether know, think, believe, understand that these other beings, are they physical in form as well, or are they more or in a different dimension, or do you know
No,
anything?
they're physical just like we are.
Okay.
They can go the other way, just like we can do the same thing.
Yeah, fair
Got to
point.
remember, a lot of these people don't get it. Aliens are not up there; they're down below. They're right under your feet. They're in our oceans. They've never been up there. They can go up there, but they've always lived here on Earth.
Okay.
Always.
So
right, they've all
do you think that there are any other aliens populating space then, or is it literally just this planet that
They've
you're?
always been here. All that was to kind of explain it. Man finally got tired of working for nothing. We want technology. We need fire. We need this. We'll trade you work for technology. Well, you know how man is. Man kills everything in sight and tears the hell out of everything. The aliens got tired of them wanting more. And they were like, fine. You play hide and go, little kid. You run like you're going to go outside. Instead, you turn and go hide under the chair. That's what they did.
Okay. That kind of makes sense, doesn't it, really? It's like they're not going to be bothered down there either, are they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Get to 'em.
yeah, a bit of peace and quiet away from all the squabbling.
yeah. Got Sasquatch Sister says so. The Bigfoot left behind are called a trachon. Have you ever heard of trachon?
No.
Okay. Evidently, in Janu law, Bigfoot are asked to be called by the name of Janu. And the trachon were they were I don't like to use the word slaves, but they were given the duty of mining earth on behalf of the Janu, Bigfoot. This is what the Janu law is, you know, to them. And the Trachon are rebelled and now are kind of like the naughty ones, if you like, of the you know, they're more I think they're probably a bit more reptilian. Have you ever come across reptilians?
Yeah, they're not a creature I care to come in contact with. They're not so nice. They ain't like the Greys. The Greys are more kind of like us as far as, working together.
Mm.
They're they're almost easy to work with, but the others, it'd be like, I don't like snakes because you can't tell what a snake's thinking. And a snake, all of a sudden, just bam, it'll bite you. Well, these reptilians, to me, the ones I've seen, it's hard to get along with them.
I've heard they have a sense of humour, those reptilians. The Greys don't. The Greys have no sense of humour at all, but evidently the reptilians seem to have a sense of humour, as I've been told, which is quite fascinating. I think out of all the aliens, I'd like to sort of meet a reptilian, I think, out of all of them, to be honest. When you talk about the greys, you've got different sorts. You've got the small greys, which are more kind of almost like synthetic or robotic. You've got the which are about 3-4 foot tall, if I'm not mistaken. Then you've got like the ebons, which are taller. They're fully biologic entities. Did you come across both sorts, both the smaller robotic ones and the ebons?
Yeah, we refer to them as like the kids, and then the bigger ones, and they were all pretty much easy to get along with. But it's a thing that they don't have. They don't have like the sense of humor like we have. We laugh. They don't. You know, they still have kind of a sense of humor, but it's not like we have. It's more laid back, not really expressed. It's more or less felt.
What were they? When they were asking Bigfoot to mine the planet, what were they after?
They was after minerals, gold. Gold to them is highly prized. That and silver, but they also like to find those crystals. The what do they call it?
Quartz?
We have a lot of it down here. It's a crystal quartz.
Okay. Yeah. In your anytime you want to have a break, we can have a break, Henry. You know, if you want to have a wee break or something, that's fine.
Okay, I'll take a quick one, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, me and Nat could just talk. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, no worries. All right, brother. All right. Go on, you go. Go on, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, right. Wow. Interesting.
It's a lot to get your head around. I was
not
quite expecting what we've got, actually, to be fair. I was not expecting to go, oh, yeah, that's kind of happened. And, oh, yeah, I understand that. Because I was expecting to see her and think, like it's like a third-party far-away thing. You know, rather than going, yeah, I can relate to that. Oh, that makes sense. It's,
you know, I thought exactly the same. You know, I as soon as you mentioned about the outer body and the things moving, and I could read, I could see your face, and your brain was ticking over. And as soon as I saw your face, I thought, yes, you're right. You're on the right track. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, well, could it account for ghosts? Could it account for some of the paranormal stuff going on?
At least some of it. Definitely.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Especially ones with object interaction. Or even like, you know, the random period clothes. Because like he says, if you get sent back in period of clothes and you appear not quite 3D in period clothes, in a weird kind of way, it does kind of explain it. It's like, and one friend was like, what if they're all just like time travelers and they're not? I mean, he did say there were spirits as well, so it's obviously a little bit more complicated than that. But what if those full-bodied apparitions that everyone's so obsessed about aren't actually ghosts? They're actually time travelers.
Isn't it?
That's what I was thinking. My brain was like, whoa, that's the thought. You know, so we're all like, all the paranormal investigators like going on about the full-bodied apparitions where they're actually chasing people, not spirits. It's like, and that was an entertaining thought.
Yeah. So
it's you know.
Are you thinking the same as me then? That like I could be a ghost at some point. At some point I may have, because I lose stuff all the while. You know, things get moved, stuff happens.
What, your
Like the
own-
cheese grater last week,
Yeah,
tiny little stupid thing, absolutely stupid. But maybe could it be that while I
You're
was
haunting yourself.
yeah, if I was zoned out watching TV, because sometimes I
Yeah,
zone out watching a program, and I literally zone out into it, and I get so sort of enthralled into something that I don't remember even just what you did. I don't remember having a drink out of a bottle. I don't remember kind of, you know, maybe I did go into the kitchen and move that cheese grater. Odd.
Because I've definitely had split consciousness where I know I've been doing something. I just assumed it was healing, because I'll sometimes get people going, "Oh, thank you so much for your healing," and I'm like, "What you're talking about?" And then I find out that that like the night before they've like asked me for healing. So obviously some part of me's gone, "All right, yeah, okay, I'll go off and do it. I won't bother Nat properly. She can carry on sleeping." And it's like, so I have had sort of not the same phenomenon, because obviously not literally displacing myself, but I have had that split consciousness, literally doing something else. And I know I'm doing something else as well. It's not even just zoning out and sort of like, you know, going, you know, having an unconscious thing. I am aware that I am doing something. I just don't know what it is a lot of the time.
You had that a lot then? Does that happen to you quite frequently?
Not frequently. It tends to be more related to healing. If somebody's asked me for healing, but not literally asked me for healing, and some part of me responds and reacts to that, and I only find out after the fact, when somebody will be like, "Oh, you know, I asked you to help." I got a friend, I think he was out in Cambodia or Vietnam, and he'd asked for help, and I wasn't aware of it. And then he messaged me the next day and said, "Oh, whatever you did, it was a good job." And I was like, "Pardon?" It's
a good job.
And I said, "You know, it's funny. I knew I was doing something the other night. Half of my brain was gone." I said, "So it must have been responding to what you were asking, and it's not conscious." So, like I say, our consciousnesses are not as coherent as we think they are. They can split off different things and do different things without us knowing. So I you know, the self, the higher self, conscious, subconscious, oversoul, and all that stuff. I think there are definitely different levels, and that we are capable of being conscious in two places at once. Because I have had that, not frequently, like I say, but I have had it. So
Hey Henry.
Yeah.
You're right. We were just talking while you're going for a bathroom break. We were just talking there. Natalie was about like consciousness and how, you know, your consciousness kind of like, in a way, it's almost like it's two consciousnesses. Is that right? In one being, almost. Sometimes, you know, you think you're doing something. Or you don't realize you're doing something when actually you are doing something, and it's almost like kind of there's very often there's things that we do and we don't realize we're doing it, and it's almost like a separate entity but part of us still. Is that part of your training? Did you have training for all of this, or is it natural?
That was something I was just born with. Now, I also, in the projects, they were taking different spirits. Inside of me, I've got 3 different human spirits that was crammed in there. There was all kinds of things going on in these projects. And the reason being is because if I run into a problem, I can't just dial up help. I have to be able to take care of the problem. So they put these other 3 in there to help me, assist with me if I run into a problem. But you got to look at it this way. The soul or spirit, whatever you want to call it, it's only trapped in your body like a cage. But once you pass away, that spirit can come out. It can manifest in different places. Well, some of these people are doing this and not even realizing it. They're performing tasks without even realizing it. They're splitting and separating. And it once you learn how to do it and learn how to control it, you can do it at any time, any place.
Mm.
So the body is basically a cage. But when you can learn to take and split that 3 different ways where you can still do a job, but yet you don't remember doing it, or you just kind of feel like you're just kind of winging it, but yet there's 3
Mm.
other tasks being done. When you can master that, there's nothing you can't accomplish. You can accomplish 3 different tasks at one time.
With because there's some of the most recent suggestions. I mean, it started with Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar said that think of us as being almost walking souls. We've got captive souls in us, and that is what the aliens are after. They are after souls, harvesting souls. Is that something you heard about?
Okay, like I was telling you earlier, they really don't care about having your soul, because it's like, okay, just say like if the only thing you ate was beef and you got cattle out in your pasture, you'll keep them cattle and take care of them and keep breeding them, so you keep having meat. Well, these aliens, they don't eat. They feed on your anger, your happiness. That's why there's different kinds of disasters and stuff, to heighten the what you're feeling, like anger, happiness, scared. They feed off of that. They eat that. They eat that energy that you produce. They don't want to eat you. Why? If they eat you, then they eat her. They eat me. Eat everybody up. They ain't got nothing to feed on no more.
Mm.
So basically, our souls are like cattle.
Okay. Just as a segue to that, you did mention the cattle. Do you got any idea why cattle mutilations happen?
They're creating different beings like off of themselves because they cannot repopulate like we do. And since they don't have the genitalia to do that, they have to create it like they did me.
Okay, right. So because a lot of the cattle are missing things like embryos, and yeah, they're they're
And
they're,
so ain't
they're
people.
missing things like eyes, tongues, but also genitalia as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so okay. I have heard also that with cows, they are their womb, if you like, is a something which is compatible with human embryo.
Yeah.
I read that
That's
somewhere.
true.
Yeah. When they created Bigfoot, all right, to do the mining, did they give Bigfoot a soul? Do you happen to know that?
If they did, it's a very minute one because they never was intending on feeding off of them. They were basically just a worker. That's
Okay.
why they are smart in their area, but they're not like us. As in, we need fire, we need clothes. So they was just a creature that was created that wouldn't basically need nothing. It could forage for what it wanted to eat, basically take care of itself, but it didn't have the brain capacity that was given to man.
Um, do you know that the government know about this? And if you know about that, do you know what section of the government know about all this going on?
All this going on, the government knows about it. That's why I just say, Phil, if you went out and took a gun and you kill a dog man, you kill a Bigfoot, or you find a hair, That's why the truth will never come out about that, because you're going to find out. You, her, me, everybody is related to the Dogman, Bigfoot, and alien. We're like brothers. We just got different traits. And that's why all these people that's finding hairs, they take it in, they say, oh, it's contaminated. They don't want you knowing the truth, because if you know the truth, now you're on their level. They want to keep man down. They want to keep us dependent on the world governments.
All right. Okay. So, right. So they want their aim, because I've heard that there's a lot of different species of aliens. Have you ever heard about them interacting or battling with each other for dominance over Earth?
Oh, yeah. That goes on daily. That's a constant.
Okay. Right. And why again are we so important? Is it because of our souls? Is that what you're saying? They can feed off our souls. We're basically like a walking McDonald's to them.
Yeah, you're a walking buffet. Because just say that right now I would call you a name and you would get mad.
Yeah.
Now you're a buffet because you got all this anger flowing. They're gobbling it up. At the same time, if I was to bring you a brand new Rolls Royce, now you're real excited, happy. They're feeding on that. They don't want to destroy you because they can just keep recycling you, and they got an ever-ending source of food because they don't eat like us. They feed off of your emotions.
Right. Okay. Why do they show themselves? And like in UFOs, people see UFOs and they're seeing them more and more all the while, especially the drones that happened in Lakenheath and Mildenhall and also New Jersey drones. It seems to be tantalizingly close to uh, disclosure. It seems to be tantalizingly close that they are coming forward, but then they kind of evaporate. The very essence of them tends to sort of just disappear right at the moment when we could take that money shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why can't they just hide if they want to just harvest our emotions? Why don't they just hide in the darkness, stay there, and just come out and go boo whenever they want and just live off that? Why do they need to tantalizingly show themselves in strange craft and
Okay.
drones?
The way I can explain that is because of the project, is that just say that another show says something bad about you, and you want to test and see whether it's time to come out and really go to battle. They're preparing. Eventually, there is going to be a one world order. All of your heads of states in all countries, they will be the figureheads. They think they're going to be the between you and the alien rulers. That's why there's so many battles going on with these different aliens, because they want to be top dog. And it's a battle with them, but I hate to say it, but I'm going to tell you, this is what I know from the project. These people in power, do they really believe they're going to be rulers of the one world order? No, they ain't. All these aliens are doing is waiting and buying time. And then these world leaders are going to find out. They're just like us. They're a buffet.
Okay. Henry, do you think there's going to be disclosure at all?
It's going to be like it always is. They're going to give you a little taste of information while they're busy over here doing something else.
Okay.
They're just
Yeah.
testing the waters right now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. All right. Henry, look, we can't cover every single thing. There's loads still left. But are you okay to answer a few questions from the comments?
Yeah.
And then what we'll do is we'll sort of piece together another show, if that's okay, so you can come on.
Yeah.
Are you happy doing that?
Yeah. Like I said, I want it
Okay.
out because if I get taken out, then the truth won't get out there.
Okay. So if you were going to sum up just quickly before I go into the questions, if you were going to sum up one message, okay, a sentence or a paragraph, one message you really, really, really want to get through, and God forbid you weren't here tomorrow and you knew you weren't going to be here tomorrow, you want to get through one message to the people, what would that message be, Henry?
My message would be to the people is try to get along, try to find some goodness in your people that you don't like. And I wish all these people in the paranormal field would team up with the people in the cryptid field, because you're going to find your answers, and your answers are all linked together. It's all tied together.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Henry. No, I agree 100% with that. That's that sentiment. Absolutely. I've been banging on about that myself for people. I mean, we're so sort of, and I find, I don't know if you find this, but the groups are so fractured. You know, they're so individualized and sort of like they just keep to their groups, and they won't even take on board the fact. A Bigfoot group won't take on the board the fact of Dogman. The Dogman group won't take on the board of UFOs, and the paranormal guys just hate everyone.
I hate to
The
say it, but
ghost
yeah,
guys just hate everyone.
It's all
you're
just
right.
done to them.
Okay, so let's quickly swing into some questions from the people. We've got quite a few people on the. I'll just quickly mention a few. We've got Dragonborn Rising. Hello, thank you very much for being on. I am so sorry. I'm going to put the comments up. I didn't. You know, it's one thing. There's always one thing on a show, Henry, I always forget to do. I usually cock up the intro. I think the intro went all right this time, Nat, didn't it?
I think so, yeah. It's as far as I can tell, anyway.
Yeah. I think I'll have to look back at it, but you know, let us know in the comments, people, if you think the intro is okay. But the comments usually are put up on the screen, and I forgot to do that. So my apologies, people. Will not forget that again. Because it's nice for Henry to see the comments, and it's nice for you guys at home to see everyone's comments on the screen as well. So we've got Dragonborn Rising. Hello, Lorraine. Glad you're here. Nice to see you again. Drew Hollings, hello. Dragonborn Rising, yep. Got Susan Voosden. Hello, Susan. Thank you for being here. Who's this? We've got Brannon Harris. Hello, Brannon Harris. Thank you very much for joining us. Oh, bless you, Kate. Lovely seeing you again. Okay. We've got Milo K9 MWD. Bigfoot is real. I have him locked up in my garage. Okay. I'm glad you could make it.
Secrets out.
Yeah. But you know, there's the thing, you see, funnier things said in jest. It's like kind of perhaps he does. Yeah, perhaps he does. Yeah. We got so many people, so many. My vlog Sunny, hello. Lovely person you are, lovely person. You share all the while. Leanne Fisher. Hello to you. Who else have we got? Just running through. Got so many. Oh my word! Honestly, it's one of the busiest I think we've ever had. This is. Right. Okay. Right. Yes. I'll be here all night if I was going through all of them. Roxy, have you got any questions, please, for Henry? Can you bring them up? Right. From Sasquatch Sister. Why were you sent back in time? I'm going to say it. She said on time, but I think in time. And where was the portals?
Portals are all over the place, and the reason I sent back in time was to go back and retrieve information and also bring back objects. I was to bring them forward so they could reuse them over. Portals are all over. There's natural portals, there's ones they create, and a lot of people don't even realize there's some roads, there's cities that has portals in them that you'd never know they were there until you went in and never come back.
Is it possible that I could walk into a portal, or Natalie could walk into a portal and not realize that we walked through?
You'd never realize it. You would just step into it. But to give you, for instance, down at the Kentucky area here in the States, there's places there and you'll hear a lot of people talk about it. They don't understand it, but you'll pull in down the road and you'll go into it, and you maybe jump back in time 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, and you have a conversation, you get back in your car and start driving, and then all of a sudden it dawned on you to look at your watch. When you look at your watch, you got 4 hours of time missing. Turn around and try to go back to that same gas station or truck stop. It's not there anymore.
Wow. Is there a limit to how far back they can send you, Henry?
No, there's no limit.
Okay. So did they mainly send you back relatively? Mind you, I suppose to be fair, if you're going back for mythical items, you're looking at several thousand years, aren't you? Basically, it's
yeah.
Okay, that's also a bit mad, isn't it? You're not going that far. That's wow.
Did you ever see any people in the past which we would know? Like, did you ever see Hitler?
I went back and seen Lincoln. I've seen George Washington. It was mainly public figures.
Okay. Did they look the same as how they're drawn now, or how they're described?
Pretty much. I mean, like heights may be a little bit different. When it comes to Washington, it's not the face that you see like on the dollar bill or the quarter in the United States, but it
Right.
looked pretty similar. I mean, fairly close.
Yeah. No, I just wondered. I was hoping you'd like turn around and say, "Yeah, he had an afro, Phil," or like really long dreads or something, you know. Yeah, it's one of these things where that's one of my. If I was sent back to the past, there's a few people, that I would really like to have, met. You know, uh, 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 obviously, I'd like to have met Christ, Jesus. I'd like to have met him. I guess you didn't bump into him.
No.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Just a quick one. The chronovisor. Did you ever? Did you ever put any credence in that? The chronovisor. Do you think that's possible? That you can see back into the future with this apparatus?
Yeah, I located an object that we used. Well, they used a few times, and it was to look into the future. The past. That was actually used in the past that people only thought of as just like a mythical object. It really does exist. this thing I'm talking about.
Okay, right. I've got thank you for that, Henry. Roxy B says, you were still a kid when this was happening. Who was looking after you? What happened? What happened? Did you eat, drink, sleep? So basically, I think what she's asking is, when this happened to you, in the early days, in the 1950s time, I suspect, who was it that was looking after you then? Do you have any idea? Do you have any remember?
Only thing I can figure, it must have been one of the handlers, one of the scientists, doctor, whatever you want to call them. But as far as
Okay.
like when I would travel, even as a kid, I done had these spirits placed inside of me. Plus, I had a tracking device that is also still in my body. I do have the X-rays to prove it, but they can't take the chip out because if they do, I cease to exist.
Okay. Right. Roxy, have we got any more questions up? Just wondered. Sasquatch Sister says, what things did you bring back, please?
Okay. Have you ever heard of the Oracle of Delphi?
No, I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Have you, Natalie?
Yeah, it's the oracles of Delphi were like, was it Greek or Roman times?
Yeah.
The people used to go to them for advice. Was it? They were, as far as I understand it, they were people that were trained. But I'm not 100% testing my memory now. But I have heard of them. They used to use them for prophesying, didn't they? And sort of advice about the future and the best things to do. So they used to go to the temple, make offerings, and the oracles at Delphi would then give you go and do their bit, and then come back with an answer.
Yeah. Then it would also let you look back, like just say if you had an army attack in tomorrow, you could look into that thing and see where the soldiers were. Then you could also see how they was going to attack you the next day, so you could prepare for it.
Okay, so it was an actual object that they were looking in then, rather than the people themselves doing the divining. They were actually going to the object, having a look and going, which was perhaps a little bit easier. Okay, that would make sense actually, because like you say, if these objects were sort of alien crafted, it would make sense they would get a little bit obscured throughout history as to what the things actually were, or they would hide how they were figuring out the information, wouldn't they? Because they wouldn't want anyone to steal it from them. So oh wow, okay, that was interesting. So you've picked up some pretty big items over the years. Really.
Yeah, and the thing is, these shadow governments are using these objects.
Yeah. I take it there's more than one shadow government going on, or is it a unified? Is it a unified thing? Because obviously the aliens are sort of like over.
They all work kind of together, but they also have their own separate agendas.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of infighting.
Yeah.
yeah. Trying to get one up on each other a little bit still. That makes sense.
We have another question from Sasquatch Sister. Did you ever go to the wrong place? Did they ever send you to the wrong place, Henry?
No, they always sent me exactly where they wanted me to go. Now, there was a couple of times that it was a place I really didn't want to go, but I didn't have no choice in the matter. It's better than torture.
Okay, right. She also says, where were the guardians on the portal doors? Were there guardians on the portal doors? So on the portals, that you had? Were there guardians either side on the portals?
No, because if
Right.
somebody by accident fell into one, they would determine whether you're usable, pliable as they called it, and if you wasn't, they might send you back after they wipe your mind, or you just got sent out into nothingness.
Okay. Discovering the unknowns. Ask Henry about the shape-shifting humanoid watchers. He says, ask Henry about the shape-shifting humanoid watchers. Is that something you want to answer, Henry, or?
There is such a thing of what he's talking about. There was a man that we were talking to, and he was asking the question. He said, I seen these big, huge dog tracks. And he said, while we were sitting there fishing, we kept hearing what sounded like a dog panting. He said, when we turned around, we seen it, it ran off. And he said, we looked again, and there was an old man standing there. I said, yeah, that's a shapeshifter.
Okay. Right, yeah. All right. Thank you very much for that question, Ethan. Lovely. Okay, right. If you can, Roxy, have we got any more questions? Let's see if she's got any more. Let the people, otherwise what we'll do, if it's okay. Okay, no, there's no more questions on that comments, but we have covered quite a bit, Henry. So what I think we're going to do, I'm going to wrap this session up. And if you can please stay on,
Okay.
because there's a few things I'd like to discuss with you. And if people want to catch that, then they can on the Beyond the Live show on Patreon. Okay. And also, we will have you back if you will come on, please, Henry. That'd be lovely.
Yes, I would.
You're a minefield of information. And do you know what? Honestly, I'm leaving this absolutely believing you 100%. I am. You're so on point with your information, and your body language is just ticking the boxes for me. What about you, Nat?
Yeah, I say this quite a lot on interviews, but I'm like just processing. It's going to take me a few days to sort of sort through all this in my head. But
Yeah.
like I say, the whole flipping times thing, just even that is,
Yeah.
That's a very interesting conversation. Thank you, Henry. Really appreciate
You're
it.
very welcome.
Yeah. And thank you very much, Henry. Please stay on, okay? And I shall just swap over onto a recorded one, okay? People at home, thank you very, very much. It's coming up to 2 hours. I appreciate everyone and their comments and for joining us. It's been absolutely fantastic, and we are going to have Henry on again. Right. I'm going to just change this over. Let's have a look. Say to people, thank you and have a good night.